Hey guys, I'm MG, and today I'll be looking at The Wild Robot, which is a 2024 American animated science fiction film that is based on the 2016 novel with the same name by Peter Brown that is about Roz adapting to the wildlife while raising an orphan goose, and it was directed by Chris Sanders, who wrote the script as well. However, why don't we stop farting and start reviewing right now? Before watching the film, I read the entire source material, and I really loved it. It might have stretched a bit into getting 80 chapters, but I still adore this book. So how does the film do in comparison? It's not as good in my opinion. I'm probably saying this because of how much I loved the source material, but I just didn't get as much attached to it in comparison. But even without the comparing factor, I don't quite see it as the masterpiece that everyone says it is. Even though it's not very far behind in that regard, since I still had a great time watching this. First off, the animation is outstanding, so damn beautiful in terms of how it depicts nature, which is very expressive with the character movement and the good looking fires. Plus, the way the campfire story was animated was even better due to its creative art style. The humor is also quite comedic in a way that really works. It's not the funniest animated film of all time, but that makes sense since the comedy was not the main focus. The score is also fantastic. It feels richly cinematic every time it shows up, and it really supports the positive tone that the film presents really naturally. Speaking of which, the story is really simple, which is obviously indicative of a novel, but the simplicity is more evident here due to how much it keeps you hooked on the whole narrative. And it was honestly genius for a robot to develop real emotions and make friends with a bunch of animals who initially think she's a monster, but it's so neat to see them grow to like her due to how much help she has given towards them, despite all the harm they have done towards her. However, it wasn't as heartwarming as I would have liked, which now brings me to my two real issues, which are the pacing and some of the characters in my opinion. The pacing definitely felt a bit wonky, with a lot of the action ending a bit too fast for me, while some of the more character moments felt a bit slow, which was a little distracting in some areas, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. And the characters are a bit of a mixed bag. I really adore some of them, like Roz and Brightbill, with a relationship really sticking out due to how emotional it has gotten, with a lot of really exceptional moments, like their reconciliation, with both Lupita Nyong'o and Kit Connor being really riveting in their voice acting. And some other animals were quite humorous as well, like Pinktail and her family, Longneck and Paddler, who were either endearing or enjoyable. However, some of the other characters didn't exactly work for me, due to them being rather underdeveloped, like Thorn, Thunderbolt, and especially Fink and the villain Vontra. Vontra was a little underutilized, and I wish that she had more of a presence in the story to make her menace more prominent, since that would have boosted her villainous attitude, even though she was already pretty solid to begin with. Next up is Fink. Despite good voice acting from Pedro Pascal, who sounds a lot like Jason Bateman from Zootopia, which I guess is because they both play foxes. But still, the movie wants me to be invested in Fink being alone, but it's not very recurring for it to be anything impactful, who was also not very funny. And the way he befriends Ross was kind of weird. They have a pretty decent relationship, but when he offers to help the goose, he was lying to Ross for his own benefit. And you could have made a character arc of him slowly caring about them, but nope. It's all off screen, and when we flash forward months later, he cares about both Roz and Brightbill, and I wish we got to see that growth in his character. But overall, this film was really great. Not as amazing as the book, but it still serves as a worthwhile adaptation that I would deeply recommend towards everyone, since it's absolutely worth your time, and you'll have a blast watching it. 8.7 out of 10. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching. Bye!